All right, let's take this past question. 2023-2024 Maths 5 Engineering Mathematics 3. All right, for what values of x is the matrix? Okay, let's write down the matrix of the given matrix singular. For what values of x is the matrix A singular? So this is the matrix given. Okay, that is question 1A. This is the matrix given A All right, so this is the given matrix. For what values of x is this matrix singular? So note before that for a matrix to be singular, then the determinant should be what? Equal to 0, right? Right? So that is the first thing you should take note of. That for this matrix to be singular, then its determinant should be equal to 0. So in solving this question, the first thing we do is what? Get the determinant of this matrix. Of course, this is what? A 3 by 3 matrix. Therefore, it is also called the squared matrix. Okay. Okay, since the rows are equal to what? The columns. Therefore, it is what? A square matrix. And its determinant can be gotten. All right, so let's get the determinant for this. So solution, the determinant of A is written as, all right, for this I'm using a straight line to actually differentiate it from the original matrix. X minus 2, for the first row I'm having x minus 2, 4, and minus 9. And for the second row, I'm having 1, x minus 4, and minus 2. The next one I'm having was 1, 0, and x minus 4. Alright, so let's get the determinant for that. How do we get the determinant for this? Remember, it is what? A 3 by 3 matrix. So in getting the determinant, there are sign convention for this. We take this as what? Positive, minus, and what? Positive, right? Alright, so work with this sign convention. Positive, negative, and positive, right? So for that, this is what I'll do. This is it. I'll pick on the first row, on this your first row, x minus 2, 4, and minus 9. I'll pick what? My first element there, which is what? X minus 2. I'm having a plus here. So I'll write what? Plus x minus 2. Let's write it in a bracket. Next up, in getting the determinant of 3 by 3 matrix, so I'll pick this first for the first row. After picking this, I'll block the row on which it lies and the column on which it lies. So this is what I mean. This is where, for this is the first row. For this is what the row it lies, right? My x minus 2 lies on this row. So I'll block this, and I'll block the column on which it lies. And this is the column. I'll then write what? I'll write down the elements that are not blocked. Right? So this is blocked. This is blocked. So these are the elements left. Right? These are the elements left. So this is what I have. For that, I'll write it. I'll write that as x minus 4 and what? Minus 2. Next up, 0 and what? X minus 4. Right? Next to the next element there, I'm having 4. But the sign convention there is what? Minus. So I'll write what? Minus 4. Then we create what? A 2 by 2 matrix for it. So this is how we do it. We cover the row on which it lies, right? For my 4, this is the row. And we cover what? The column for it. And we cover the column. So what is left? 1 minus 2, 1 and x minus 4. So this is what I have for my 2 by 2. I'm having what? 1 minus 2, 1 and what? X minus 4. Right? And finally, for the last term there, I'm having what? Plus minus 9, right? Plus minus 9. Create what? A 2 by 2 matrix for it so that you can get your determinant. So you pick this, cover the row on which it lies, and cover the column on which it lies. So I'm having this covered and this covered. So what is left? 1, x minus 4, 1 and 0. So what do I have there? I'm having 1, x minus 4, 1, 0. Alright, this is it, this is it, this is it. Therefore, we can take what? The determinant of our 2 by 2 matrix there. Right? So how do you take determinant? You say what? The leading row minus what? The second row. Okay, diagonal rather. The leading diagonal or principal diagonal minus what? The second diagonal. So this is your principal diagonal. This is called what? Principal diagonal. And this is what? Your second diagonal. So what do I have there? I have what? X minus 2 brackets. So let's multiply this. X minus 4 times x minus 4. What do you get? For this, I'm having what? X squared. Okay, let's do that. X minus 4 times what? Minus 4, x minus 4. And therefore, I'm having x times x squared minus 4x minus 4x minus times minus plus 16, right? So I'm having what? X squared minus 8x plus 16. So that is that if I multiply this, I get what? X squared minus 8x plus 16 minus the second diagonal, the product of what? The second diagonal, which is what? 0 times minus 2. And this gives me what? 0. Alright, minus what? 4. Minus what? 4. We do the same thing. We get what? The product of the principal diagonal. And we subtract the second diagonal from it. So what is our product? We simply do what? Say 1 times what? X minus 4. 1 times this gives me what? X minus 4. Right? Minus, next up we get what? The product of our second diagonal this way. So I'm having 1 times minus 2, which gives me what? A minus 2. So if I should write minus 2 here, I'm having what? Minus times minus, which is what? Plus 2. Right? Next up, let's go. For this, I'm having what? Plus times minus, which is what? Minus 9. Alright, let's get our determinant for that. I'm having 1 times 0, which is what? 0 minus the product of your second diagonal, which is what? 1 times x minus 4, which gives us what? X minus 4. So I'm having what? X minus 4 here. Alright, let's continue. Next up, we simplify further. We multiply this by this. First thing first, I'll be using my x, my first term here, to multiply everything in this bracket. And next up, I use what? My minus 2 to multiply everything in this same bracket. So let's go. X times x squared gives me what? X cubed. X times minus 8x gives me what? Minus 8x squared. X times plus 6x gives me what? Plus what? Okay. Plus 16 rather. This is what? Plus 16. Right? Right? Yes, this is plus 16. Okay. Next up, x times plus 16 gives me what? 16x. Alright. We go over to what? The next term there. We go over to the next term there, which is what? Minus 2. Let's multiply all through. I'm having what? Minus 2 times x squared gives me what? Minus 2x squared. Minus 2 times minus 8x gives us what? Plus 16x. Minus 2 times 16 gives us what? Minus 32. Next up, we go over to this. This is what? Minus 0, minus 0. Right? Next up, we go over to this. Minus 4 times x gives me what? Minus 4x. Minus 4 times minus 4 gives me what? Plus 16. Minus 4 times minus 2 gives me what? Minus 8. Right? Okay, over to this term, I'm having what? 0 minus x minus 4. This can also be written as minus 9 times minus times x gives me what? Minus x plus this plus 4. Minus times minus gives me what? A plus there, right? Therefore, I'm having what? Minus 9 times minus x, and I get what? For that, I'm getting minus, okay, plus 9x minus 9 times plus 4 gives me what? Minus 36. Alright, so we've gotten this. Next up, we simplify further. I'm having x cubed. There's no other term that has the power of 3, right? So I'll write this down. X cubed minus 8x squared minus 2x squared gives us what? Minus 10x squared, right? Is there any other variable that has x squared? No. So we write it what? We write it down, minus 10x squared. Next up, for our 16, for our x variable, I'm having what? 16x plus 16x, which gives me what? 32x. 32x minus 4x gives us what? 28x. 28x plus 9x gives us what? A plus 37x. Alright, finally, over to our numbers. Minus 32 plus 16 gives me what? A minus 16, right? A minus 16. A minus 16 minus minus 16 minus 8 gives me what? Minus 24. Minus 24 minus 36 gives me what? Minus 60. Alright, so this is it. You just have to simplify this. You take from one term to the other. Be very careful for each coefficient. For x cubed, there's no other x cubed, so I don't have to simplify it. I just brought it down, x cubed. And now I'm having x squared, I have to simplify. And then I went over to what? The variables of x, and x. After simplifying that, I got what? 37x. And next up, over to our whole numbers without any variable, any letters. I'm having minus 32 plus 16 minus 8 and minus 36. After simplifying that, we get what? A minus 60. Alright. Next up, mind you, recall that I said for a matrix to be singular, then its determinant should be equal to what? 0. Recall that for this matrix to be singular, its determinant should be equal to what? 0. All right. So let's equate this determinant which we got to be what? 0, and then find the value of x. All right. So we get what? X cubed minus 10x plus 37x minus 60 equal to 0. All right, so we are having a polynomial of degree 3. How do we factorize this? How do we factorize polynomials of degree 3 and above? We start by what? Our trial and error method. We look for a factor of it, right? After getting a factor, then we divide it by that factor to get the other factor. So this is what we do. We use what? Our trial and error method, right? So for this, I'll say let x equal 1. And if I say let x, okay, when x equal 1, wherever I see 1 into is wherever I see x, I put 1 into this equation. And if it doesn't give me 0, then it is not a factor. But if it gives me 0, then it is what? A factor. So let's do that. I'm having what? 1 cube minus 10 times 1 plus 37 times 1 minus 60, right? So this gives me 1 minus 10 plus 37 minus 60. What would that give us? All right, so this gives me what? Minus 32, right? Therefore, 1 is not a factor of x. It's not a factor of this polynomial, right? We go over to the next term. We try the next and the next. Okay, let's try when x is equal to 3. 2 is not a factor. 2 is not a factor. Okay, let's try that when x equal 2. When x equal to, what do I have? I'm having 2 raised to power 3 minus 10 all right, let's simplify that. I'll have what? 8 minus 20, and this gives us what? 2. All right, so this is not equal to 0. This is what? Our remainder. So there's a remainder. Therefore, 2 is not a factor of this polynomial. We go over to our next term. X equal 3. X equal 3. So what do I have there? 3 raised to power 3 minus 10 times 3 plus 37 times 3 minus 60. And this gives us what? 48. Therefore, 3 is not a factor of the polynomial. 3 is not a factor of the polynomial. All right, we try x equal to 4. So let's go. This becomes what? 4 raised to power 3 minus 10 times 4 plus 37 times 4 minus 60. What will that give us? 4 raised to power 3 minus 40. And this gives us 166. All right. All right. All right. So 4 is not what? A factor. Let's try what? The next number. We continue trying until we get what? 0, right? As our final answer. So x equals 5. Let's go. So I'm having 5 cubed minus 10 times 5 plus 37 times 5 minus 60. All right, recall that our original question, this is supposed to be 10x squared. Mind you, please, mind you, this is x squared, not just x. So I'm supposed to have 10x squared here, 1 squared. I'm supposed to have squared here. I'm supposed to have squared here. All right, and therefore, for this, I'm having what? For x raised to power 1, I'm having that. For x, when x is equal to 2, I'll get when x is equal to 3, my answer is minus 12. Minus 12. When x, all right, mind you, x raised to power 2. X raised to power 2. When x equal 4, I'll get what? Minus 8. All right, so let's go for this. I'm having what? 5 raised to power 2. Right? From our original polynomial, I'm having what? X cubed minus 10x squared plus 37x minus 60, right? So let's simplify that. In simplifying that, we get minus 250 plus 37 times 5 minus 60. All right, so in simplifying this, we get what? 0, right? In simplifying this, we get 0. Therefore, we say that x minus 5 is a factor. So therefore, we say what? X minus 5 is a factor. It's just here, if I impute 5 into the function, I get 0. Then it simply means that x, if I bring this back to this point, I'm having x minus 5 is what? A factor of the polynomial. So we've gotten what? One factor of the polynomial as what? X minus 5. So let's get the other polynomial. Let's get the other polynomial. Let's get the other factors rather. So how do we get the other factors? We can either, okay, let's use our long division method for simpler understanding of what we are doing. So using your long division method, the other factors can be gotten as, let's check for the other factors. Using what? Long division method. Right? In doing that, I have to divide our original polynomial by one of its factors to get what? The remaining factors. Mind you, this is what? Of degree 3. So I'm expecting what? 3 factors, right? I've already gotten one, so I'm looking for the next 2. Right? So let's go. How do we divide this? We use what? The first term of our dividend, and we divide it by what? The first term of our divisor of this. So I'm having x cubed divided by x, and that gives me what? X squared. Next up, multiply this by this, or multiply this by this. So I'm having what? X squared times x gives me what? X cubed. X squared times minus 5 gives me what? Minus 5x squared. Alright, next up we subtract. In subtracting this, x cubed minus x cubed gives me what? 0, right? 0. Next up, minus 10x squared minus 5x squared gives me what? A minus 5x squared. Bring the remaining term down since there's nothing to subtract there. So I'm having plus 37x minus 60. All right. Next up, we look at the first term here and we divide it by what? The first term of our divisor. So I'm having 5x squared minus 5x squared rather divided by x. What do I get? Minus 5x squared divided by x. I get what? Minus 5x. Multiplying through, let's go. Minus 5x times x gives me what? A minus 5x squared. Right? Minus 5x times minus 5 gives me what? Plus 25x. Alright, there's nothing to multiply again. So next up we do what? Subtract. Subtracting this, I'm having what? Minus 5 minus 5. And this gives me what? Minus 5 plus 5, which is what? 0. So this is what? 0. This goes out. Next up, I'm having 7x minus 25x. And that gives us what? 12x minus 60. Alright, next up, let's divide. 12x minus divided by x gives me what? Plus 12. Plus 12. Plus 12, right? So let's go. So in dividing that, what do we get? We get what? 12 times x gives me what? 12x. Next up, 12 times minus 5 gives me what? Minus 60. Alright, subtracting this, I get what? 0 as my remainder. Therefore, the factors of this polynomial are x minus 5 and x squared minus 5x plus 12. Alright, I'm having what? Therefore, x cubed minus 10x squared plus 37x minus 60 is equal to what? X minus 5 times 8. Right? Alright, so these are these are factors, right? But as you can see, I'm having a quadratic function here, right? A quadratic factor here. It simply means I can still factorize this. So let's factorize x squared minus 5x plus 12. Let's check for that. So what do we have? Using quadratic formula. Let's use our quadratic formula to make it shorter. Using quadratic formula, I'm having what? That x is equal to what? Minus b plus minus root minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Alright. Now from our function there, I'm having that a is equal to what? 1. B is equal to what? Minus 5. And my C is equal to 12. Alright, so let's impute that into our quadratic formula there. I'm having what? Minus times minus 5 plus minus 5 all squared minus 4 times 1 times what? 12. All divided by 2a, which is what? 2 times 1. Alright, therefore I'm having that x is equal to minus times minus gives me what? A plus 5 plus minus, for this, I'm having minus 5 squared, which is what? 25. 25 minus 4 times 1 times 12 gives us what? 48 over 2, right? And therefore, my x is equal to 5 plus minus 23 over 2. Alright. This can be written as 5 plus minus. Mind you, this is a negative, right? A negative number inside a root. What comes to our mind? Complex number. So I'm having what? 23i over 2. Alright. Therefore, your factors for x are 5. Factors for x are 5, factors for x are 5 plus 23i over 2 and 5 plus minus 23i over 2. Alright, so therefore, the value of x for that matrix to be singular cannot be a complex number, right? So I'm having this to be a complex number and this to be what? A complex number. So this is the only factor of x that is not a complex number. Therefore, the value of x for the matrix to be a complex number is 5. Therefore, x is equal to 5. So that is our value for x for the matrix to be what? A singular matrix.